activities of Krishna consciousness. Because everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in the discharge of this service. Those who are engaged in this process are known to be without desire for personal sense gratification. The sense of eternal servitorship to Krishna makes one immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to Sri Sri Radha Kalachandji temple. Please come in. So this is our evening program. The altar just closed like 10-15 minutes back. And then it will open up again at 8 o'clock. Right? So they're changing Krishna in his night clothes before he retires for the day. So this is our daily evening program. That after the Sandhya Arati, when the altar closes, we read the Bhagavad Gita. We've been doing it verse by verse. And we are on chapter 4 today. So please join us if you can. Okay. So chapter 4, text 18. This is kind of a tongue-twisting verse. Action in inaction, inaction in action. It's kind of cryptic, the way Krishna puts it. So before we do that, how many of you've read the Gita? A little bit? Okay. So we'll basically catch you up on what's happening before we speak on this particular verse. The Gita happens in Kurukshetra, right? We all know that. And who is this conversation happening between? Do you know? Yeah, Krishna and Arjuna. And this battlefield. Everybody is assembled, right? The Pandavas are on one side, the Kauravas are on the other side. They've tried so much to stop this war, but they couldn't. They've come to this point where the war has to happen. Right when the war is about to happen, everybody is blowing their conch shells and the bugles and the drums and everything is being drummed up, ready to start the war. Arjuna tells Krishna to please take him to the middle of the battlefield. So Krishna is acting as the chariot driver of Arjuna, although he's his friend, right? So that's a big story. We won't go into why that's happening. But Arjuna takes Krishna to the middle of the battlefield, and then Arjuna wants to see who's all there in the other side that he's fighting with, right? Who he's fighting with is his teacher, his grandfather, his cousins, his friends, everybody that he's known and is grown up with. So Arjuna is asking, Krishna, let me see one more time who I am actually fighting with. And then Arjuna has severe doubts in his mind, right? Just before everybody is going to start the war, Arjuna has gives several reasons to Krishna on why he should not fight the battle. Very good reasons. And then, in spite of giving so many reasons, Arjuna himself is not really satisfied with his own reasoning, with his own arguments. and then tells Krishna, Krishna, you please tell me for sure what I should do. I'm accepting you as a teacher and becoming your student. You please tell me what I should do for sure, because I'm confused. I don't really know what to do. Whether I should fight the war or just retire to the forest and just be by myself, I don't know. So that's where the second chapter actually begins. The first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna's explanation on why he should actually not fight the battle. And then the beginning of the second chapter, he actually accepts Krishna as the teacher, as the guru, and then requests him to tell him for sure what he should do. And you see, this is a constant thing that will happen in the Bhagavad Gita, the questioning and the answering, the questioning and the answering. So this is a very natural method. Quest, word question comes from the word quest, right? Good questions actually take us on a great quest. Our questions can trigger some incredible journey. You see that in the Bhagavad Gita, you see that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, like many other places also. So in the second chapter, Krishna basically summarizes the entire Gita. That's the second chapter, contents of the Gita summarized. So he tells Arjuna in the end of the second chapter that Arjuna, you have to act. This is Krishna's point, right? You cannot run away from the battlefield. You have to fight. But in the end, he also says, Arjuna, you have to use your senses like a tortoise, he says. So you've seen the tortoise, where it can actually pull its limbs inside its shell whenever it wants to, and whenever it wants to engage with the world, it can pull its limbs outside, right? So Krishna says, Arjuna, you have to be like that. Like you have to control your senses and use your intelligence and be like that, he says. So third chapter, Arjuna is a little confused. Krishna, I really didn't want to fight. I wanted to go, but then you said I had to fight. But then now you're saying using your intelligence, control your senses. Like, so should I act or should I not act? Should I act or should I renounce? That's what spurs the third chapter. So the entire conversation of third chapter is karma. The title of the third chapter is called Karma Yoga. So Krishna goes into great detail on how we should actually act in this world. We'll discuss a little bit about that in this verse. And then in the end of the third chapter, Arjuna says, Krishna, I agree with everything that you're saying, but I know I should not do something, but somehow I'm impelled to do it. Any of us have that experience? I know I should never really do it, but somehow I end up doing it. So then Arjuna asks Krishna, why is this happening? And Krishna says, this is only because of lust that it's happening. Lust means some intense desire to satisfy our senses. It could be any of the sense, right? Some intense desire is there, and when it moves to the point of lust, we have to get it. That's how it becomes. So at that point, we cannot stop ourselves from doing anything. So then Krishna begins this fourth chapter by saying how with knowledge we can actually control lust. So the title of the fourth chapter is Jnana Yoga, or transcendental knowledge. And he gives knowledge in various different ways. So he starts with the history of the Bhagavad Gita. So when was the Bhagavad Gita spoken? Any guesses? It was spoken about 5,000 years back, give or take. That's when the Battle of Kurukshetra happened. So is that the first time Bhagavad Gita was spoken? No. Krishna says no. That's how he starts the fourth chapter with. He says, Imam vivashvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam. Proktavan aham avyayam. So he says, Imam vivashvate yogam. I told this yoga first to Vivashwan, the sun god. And Vivashwan spoke this to Manu.